Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. A lot of things have happened since I released a viral video on December 4th. That video ended up in a Tucker Carlson show and President Trump tweeted it. And then my video got deleted by YouTube on December 10th, right after YouTube announced that it would start deleting all videos that dispute the election results. Although my video is not about the election dispute, it became perhaps the first or one of the first victims of YouTube's massacre. Then I got quite a lot of media attention because of all this and have done quite a few interviews in the past few days. That's why I haven't been able to do any new videos until now. Today, finally, I'm back. But I don't want to talk about all the drama. Instead, I want to focus on the video itself. I had always wanted to do a show to talk about it since I finished the translation. Today, finally, I'm doing it. Okay, the video is an 18-minute speech of a top CCP professor and key opinion leader. You may already know that his name is Dongsheng. The main point of his speech was to explain why the opening up of China's financial sector has been accelerating in 2020 and why it should accelerating. But he might have not realized that during his speech, he revealed too many of the CCP's top secrets, such as how the CCP has its own people at the top, the core inner circle of politics and influence in the US. President Trump is the only one that the CCP couldn't and cannot fix via Wall Street. The CCP was very happy to see Biden's election, and the CCP has a lot of deals with Biden's son, etc. He also revealed an untold story of how a Wall Street elite used a mafia-like method to fix the owner of the Politics and Prose bookstore in Washington, D.C. so that the CCP could hold a book launch event for Xi Jinping, etc. After my video was released and circulated widely in the English-speaking world, the CCP ordered to have all the original Chinese videos deleted inside China. Chinese netizens are telling me that they have to jump over the Great Firewall to watch Dongsheng's speech, only to find that YouTube has also deleted it. As there are so many things to watch in this 18-minute speech, I will break them up and discuss them from the following aspects. 1. The laughter and applause from the audience. During this 18-minute speech, the live audience, I think there were over 1,000 people there, laughed and applauded 6 times. The first time was when he explained why during 1992 to 2016, the CCP was able to fix everything in the US. Let's take a look.
就是因为咱们上边有人，就是我们在美国的权势核心圈我们有我们的老朋友。
When he said it's just because we have people at the top, the audience laughed out loudly. They were so pleased that we have people at the top and that America had become the CCP's prey. The second time was when he told the story of how a Wall Street elite helped the CCP to fix the bookstore owner in Washington.
啥意思啊？ 天下没有美元搞不定的事情，是吧？如果一打美元搞不定，是吧？那我就，两打。这个，当然这是我的工作方式了，是吧？
When he said that there's nothing that dollars can't fix, if he can't fix it with 1 stack of dollars, he will do it with 2. Everybody laughed with agreement and appreciation. Everybody agreed that this was the way one should do things. And then Dongsheng said, "Of course, that's my way of handling things." When he said this, there was a seemingly humble smile on his face. It seems while he was bragging about his way of handling things with dollars, he tried to appear humble about this, but in fact, he was very proud and feeling so pleased with himself. The audience awarded him with another round of laughter and appreciation.
这个当然这是我的工作方式了，是吧？
The third round of laughter happens when he said that Wall Street elite who helped the CCP to fix the bookstore owner had a permanent Beijing residence.
我不但有中国国籍，我还有北京市户口，啊。长安街边上东城区有套四合院啊，等你回了北京过来喝茶，是吧？这一年你在这儿有啥事儿，记得找我，意思嘛？这点我罩得住啊。
When he said that the old lady had Beijing 户口, which is the Chinese term for registered permanent residence, the audience laughed out loud. 户口 is something special in China. It is like a green card in the US, but only valid in a particular city. If you don't have a 户口 in Beijing, you are not really a legitimate resident. One Beijing 户口 could be worth nearly 2 million yuan or 305,000 US dollars. So, when Dongsheng said that the old lady from Wall Street had a Beijing 户口, the audience laughed because having a Beijing 户口 means she really is one of the CCP's people. That's why and how he got a Beijing 户口, which is very difficult for ordinary Chinese people to gain if they were not born in Beijing. So the audience was very happy that the Wall Street elite had already become a member of China by having a Beijing 户口. The fourth and fifth round of laughter happened when Dongsheng announced that Biden was elected and that there are a lot of deals inside all this.
现在我们看到拜登上台了，传统的精英、政治精英啊，这个建制派。他们跟华尔街的关系是非常密切的，所以大家看到吧，拜登的儿子被特朗普说你在全球有什么基金公司，发现没有？谁帮他建的基金公司啊？明白吗？这里边都有买卖啊。那么，所以这个时候我们已经。
Did you notice it? The audience clapped their hands and laughed proudly after Dongsheng says there are a lot of deals inside all this. Although he didn't mention the CCP's name directly, everybody understood immediately that it was the CCP who helped Biden's son with setting up the global foundations. So Biden's son and therefore Biden and then the US are all now in the CCP's pocket, since Biden would be the next president of the US. Now, let me tell you a secret. When I watched this video for the first time, it was at this stage when I watched this round of laughter and applause from the audience that I decided I must translate the whole video into English so that English speakers can not only listen to what Dongsheng has to say, but also get to watch the interactions between him and the audience to understand the overall situation better. It also pained my heart so much to see that all the audience immediately understood that it was the CCP that helped Biden's son to set up global foundations without him having to mention the CCP's name. However, inside the US, where it is more important for the public to know the true stories of the presidential candidates so that they can make an informed decision when casting their votes, almost all the mainstream media and social media platforms had been blocking and suppressing the news of Biden family's corruption like mad before the election. They said those are fake or unverified or hacked stories, so they couldn't report it or allow it to be reported or spread. Because of the suppression of the mainstream media and social media platforms, the American public is losing its right to know, to be properly informed about important information and issues. Instead, they are deceived and heavily misled. While people in China are feeling so good that they could finally once again have one of its puppies inside the White House, the American public is deprived of the rights to know the true situations. Isn't this sad? That's why I was motivated to do the translation. The sixth round of laughter happened when Dongsheng said that when China succeeds with opening up of its financial sector, the chance to earn money will be bigger.
等到我们金融开放搞成未来咱们炒上海的股票、深圳的股票，赢钱的机会会大那么一点点还是有限的。
Well, these are the 6 rounds of laughter and applause in his speech. I have been outside of China for nearly 20 years, so sometimes I feel it's hard to catch up with what is happening in China now and to what extent the moral values have declined. I was amazed to see how this professor could openly boast about how he believed that there is nothing in the world that can't be fixed with money, and how proud he was when he said that he was chosen by the leader to negotiate a venue for Xi Jinping's book launch because he was good at fooling foreigners. When he told that little story about how the big-nosed old Jewish lady helped the CCP fix the bookstore owner, he used the same word 傲娇 to describe that owner who initially refused to give the venue to him because the time slot was already booked by another warder. 傲娇 can be translated to arrogant or spoiled. Dongsheng used this word 5 times to describe the bookstore owner and also said that the owner really put on airs with me. For me, it is totally understandable and normal if someone has already booked the venue. You of course can't give it to another person. You must abide by the contract. But for Dongsheng, who never dares to refuse his request, is arrogant and spoiled, and is putting on air with me. So from this, we can see that Dongsheng must have been having a very smooth ride with his dollars everywhere else before that, and that's why he felt it was so unacceptable that a bookstore owner would dare to refuse him because the venue had already been booked. So who has been spoiled? It is Dongsheng himself, and the people who spoiled him were those who were willing to be bought over by money. But sadly, there are so many people in the US and other countries who have been corrupted by the CCP and have become the CCP's agents. That's why we are seeing such a critical, dangerous moment in US history. This nation has been corrupted from the top and is ready to fall into the CCP's traps. There are several other things to note in Dongsheng's speech. One is that he finally admitted that the CCP had agreed to open up its financial sector in 2001 when it was allowed to join the WTO but failed to fulfill its promise. So it is now opening it up. But have you noticed this? He also admitted that another reason for the CCP to open up the financial sector is to express some goodwill to Biden, and there is a tactical and political value in it.
我们以恰当的方式进行一定的这样一个表达一个善意我个人理解，当然这个受限于我的专业基础是吧？我们是从国际政治经济学的角度去理解这个事儿。那么我认为有它的战术和政治的价值在里边
Toward the end of his speech, he admitted that the CCP's economy was a parasite or a plant that was grafted onto the US system, and the reason why the Chinese economy could boom so quickly was that the energy of the US economy was big, the market was big. So, that is to say, Dongsheng admitted that the CCP's economy is a parasite growing on the US system, developing only by feeding on the US economy.
规则什么时候浇水，什么时候晒太阳，是由我们来定啊。所以这个主导权是不一样的。
Lastly, he admitted that by opening up the financial sector, the CCP could have foreign players go to its own backyard to cultivate the root of the plant for the CCP and under CCP's own rules. I think there are quite a lot of people who feel very happy about the CCP's willingness to finally open up its financial sector after nearly 20 years, and think that the CCP finally gave in to the pressure from the West. For those people, they really need to have a listen to what Dongsheng said. The reality is, after sucking up the nutrition of the manufacturing sector of the US, the CCP now wants to suck up the nutrition of the financial sector of the US and the West, so that not only the flowers and fruits of the tree of the CCP's economy can flourish, but also its root and branches. Are you willing to be fooled again by Professor Dongsheng and the CCP? That's all for today. I've opened up a backup Rumble channel in case YouTube deletes my videos again. Please search for Inconvenient Truths by Jennifer Zeng there, and you will be able to find and subscribe to it. Thank you. Please help me spread the truth, and see you next time.